it is tough to watch this and not think we are witnessing an inevitable result, with all due respect to the San Francisco 49ers. Tom Brady got beaten in Super Bowls 3 times. He won 7 of them, as we all know, and including one in which he looked as unbeatable as possible, going in as an undefeated team in the Super Bowl, which is kind of crazy to say out loud that actually happened. But what we're witnessing here is maybe the most impressive run the Chiefs have been on in his 6 years, Mahomes, as starter with Reed and Kelce all together. Because this team looked dead to rights as a team with a ton of holes, as a team that could not do what the Chiefs do best, which is put points on the board, because Mahomes' weapons were letting him down. It's why I thought he went ham on the officials and on anybody within the sound of his voice, from Josh Allen to members of the media, after Kadarius Toney's foot was properly called offsides to wipe out a touchdown against the Bills. And I thought he went ham there because he couldn't do it at his teammates, because that ain't him. Nor was it him to go up to Josh Allen, his golfing buddy and partner, and basically say to him, we got screwed, when Allen had just come up with one of the best regular season wins of his career. Yes, at the Chiefs' expense. But sure enough, this team is still the champions because 2 things. 1, they haven't been beaten yet in the playoffs. And 2, they look it. They look it on all 3 phases. All 3 phases. Butker's making kicks. Townsend's down and punts inside, killing punts inside the 5. And Mahomes and Kelce and this offense are coming out a house of fire. They took care of business in Buffalo, and in the first half against Baltimore, they were killing it. They were crushing it. They came out with a 10-play drive to start it, and then after the Ravens eventually tied a game, after going 3 and out in their first possession, Mahomes goes 16 yards down the field, 16 plays down the field, and Kelce is leading the way. And Pacheco, and Rashee Rice, and Reed is dialing it up, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire is running it too. Justin Watson's there every now and then. MVS. It's just they look like the champs again. And Mahomes is in the rarefied air. This is why I said, who needs it more for his legacy? I mean, you want to talk about legacy. He's setting the standard for legacy right now. In terms of making 4 Super Bowls before the age of 30, he's the only guy. Nobody else has done that. 4 Super Bowl appearances now before the age of 30. Also, in terms of playoff victories, he's gotten 14, only behind Brady and Montana. 3rd quarterback to start 4 Super Bowls in a 5-season span, joining Brady and Jim Kelly. 4th Super Bowl start behind only Brady and John Elway. And then up on the screen here, what he is doing through age 28. He is way ahead of Tom Brady's pace at this point in time. He has 74 regular season wins to 58 for Brady, but when it all counts, he's got 4 more playoff wins, 1 more Super Bowl appearance, as many Super Bowl MVPs. He could surpass that of Brady by age 28. He could surpass, or he could tie Brady in terms of Super Bowl wins. Brady didn't win an MVP award through age 28. So if he ever wants to catch Tom Brady, anybody wants to catch Tom Brady, that's the way you start. Now, obviously, it's how you finish. It's how you finish. And this is what Mahomes had to say about making another Super Bowl.
You don't take it for granted either. You never know how many you're going to get to, if you're going to get to any. And so it truly is special. Just to do it with these guys after what we've been through all season long, guys coming together, it really is special. But I told them, the job's not done. Our job now is to prepare ourselves to play a good football team in the Super Bowl and try to get that ring.
And again, he's now in matter-of-fact mode, okay? He's now in matter-of-fact mode. Because greed, for the lack of a better phrase, is good when it comes to what we're seeing. And he's got a running mate. Boy, does he have a running mate. Oh, my goodness. What Travis Kelce's doing, I don't think folks maybe understand. Listen, when NFL Network started, and we were 20 years ago, and throughout the first several years of NFL Network, we kept on having, all-time this, all-time teams this, and all-time greats that. Way before Brady did anything beyond his young years that we just showed Mahomes has surpassed through age 28. Brady's the GOAT. Referred to as the GOAT now by everybody. TikTok, name it. Way back in the day, Jim Brown and Jerry Rice were those two guys. Jerry Rice is basically the standard that you want to follow if you catch a ball for a living. He now has more playoff receptions in NFL history, Travis Kelce, than Jerry Rice. That's happened. This kid from Ohio, tight end, with 11 catches on 11 targets yesterday. He's got now 8 100 or more receiving yard games in his playoff career. That's tied for first. And he's behind Rice in receiving yards and receiving touchdowns. He's 3 behind Jerry in terms of receiving touchdowns. It's nuts. This is not normal. He now has 6 touchdowns in conference championship games. That's more than John Stallworth now for most all time. He's putting himself in company that nobody thinks a tight end can. And with all due respect to Tony Gonzalez, either. And then there's the defense, too, on top of it, backing this whole play. Because the Chiefs, and I'm sure this will be parsed over the next 2 weeks, have some issues scoring points after halftime. As a matter of fact, they didn't score after halftime yesterday. And the defense made the 17 points that the Chiefs put up on the board in the first half stand up. L'Jarius Sneed, who Tyreek Hill admitted he jammed him to Cancun?
he said his butt to
right.
Cancun.
L'Jarius Sneed gives up the big play to Zay Flowers in the third quarter, and Flowers does the silly thing of spiking the ball on top of him or near his head and making it an easy call for the officials, I think. When you're standing over, that's one thing. When you're standing over and then the taunting rule was created because guys were spiking footballs nearby. It was interesting enough as well. A 100,000 liked tweet came from Joe Burrow saying, "Let the guys taunt." It's interesting. But at any rate, Snead gives that one up. Couple snaps later, Zay Flowers looks like he is easy to score. He's running right across, and Snead is trailing in coverage. And Zay Flowers leaps for the end zone and puts the ball out towards the goal line, and Snead knocks it loose. Ugh. By the way, great call by the official on the spot. I thought, let's take a look. Maybe he did get in there.
Not even close. He was a full half yard.
Official nailed it in real time.
Man.
Real time.
That changed the whole game.
Sure did. Turnover. Right there. And Karlaftis is everywhere. And,
The sack fumble on Lamar earlier.
Deion Bush, who snagged the last interception when Lamar threw it into triple coverage. And he was cut by the Chiefs, brought on by the practice squad. His wife apparently, is a reporter or an anchor for NBC Sports Boston. They just had their first kid. He's been away from the kid
Amazing.
For a month, for 6 weeks, and he's just trying to make plays whenever he gets in there for the Chiefs. He makes a play. They are amazing, and the Niners, this just in, have got their work cut out for them. And I understand there's going to be Mahomes fatigue. There already is. And Cooper, my 12-year-old, is just like, Dad, it's the Chiefs again. And I'm like, let me tell you something
just
about
like the Patriots.
I said, let me tell you something about the team you root for.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, when you were too young to remember, because bless him, he started rooting for this team towards the end of the Brady era. And I'm like, America was sick and tired
True.
of Belichick and Brady. And he kind of was confused that Gronk didn't arrive till later in Brady's career. I had to explain to him. Like, he didn't have Gronk. Then he was really confused when I told him that Gronk is Kelce's age and he doesn't play anymore. So,
Beat up.
but I'm like, hey, it used to be this way for New England. And the fact that I'm even in the realm of equating the Chiefs to those Patriots teams just confirms this is a dynasty. It's being born. I used that phrase on Twitter and I got lit up. What do you mean born? We've been there. I'm like, no. When you do this going back-to-back Super Bowls and you go to 4 and 5 years, even 3 and 4 years, you could be considered dynastic. But when you do it like this, when you struggle and everybody thinks you're about to get got and you go on the road and you knock off the 2 seed and then the 1 seed in your first such true road playoff games you've had in this entire streak where you've been living in an Arrowhead bubble, supposedly, and unable to maybe answer the call when crowd is nuts and the environment is tough. And they go in and do this in back-to-back weeks. And Kelce, when he's supposedly, less than, shadow of his former self, he's dropping balls. Right-wingers are saying it's because he's getting shots in the arm or he's too busy, being in love with Yoko Swift. Whatever you want to say.
Commercials.
He's going out, and Auto was driving right down the throats of the Ravens defense, catching every single one of his targets, including one that Mahomes threw up in the air after a 9-second scramble, and he made a gorgeous two-handed grab of. Gives you the sense of an invincible team. That's where we're at with the Kansas City Chiefs. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.